Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I tell you what, there aren't too many. If I say it spell it with a K-O-M-M-I-E-S. I'm in the first 30 seconds of the video, so I got to be careful. Ain't too many of them people sleeping good tonight. And we know they're here. We know they're in the country. And we know they infiltrated. And Donald J. Trump pointed a very specific finger at the Chinese Communist Party. 270 plus million Americans have their data compromised, and with the Chinese Communist Party and other nations. So a lot was laid out, much of which we already knew. But as we know, the media has done a coordinated effort, along with judges, along with other politicians, run the gamut of subversives and infiltrators that have suppressed the truth and divided our country and disrupted our comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y. But anyway, as people get into the chats, I'm going to play my videos, and maybe we'll get some new people that never heard the message that some of these videos put out, like Laura here, okay? Selected, many of our leaders are selected all around the world. You think we're the only ones? There's so much that's going to come out of this, and how are they not going to cover it, and how are they going to try to bastardize the message? We will see. And how long will they get away with it before we see silver bracelets? So anyway, folks, I'll play my videos while people settle in, get a cup of coffee, a nice cold brouhaha, or an adult beverage of your choice. And then we'll be like butter and get on roll.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything evil that's said about him and love Ukraine, and there's no in between. And that reminds me a lot of, you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine before we even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraina. The puppet who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
How to build back better.
We have to build back better.
Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. Does nobody question these things? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something?
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.
The storm's on.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm they're talking about.
And they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
And he's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
I think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined.
Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he perceives as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm about an hour behind a normal schedule, but that's all right because let me hear what you all think of Mr. T's address. I'll tell you what I think. I put on the top of my thumbnail there, ABC, NBC, part of a plot. That is almost, if not verbatim. Hi, Mac. How you doing? Tammy, how you doing? Robin, nice to see you. Rain's here. Sissy's here. Ha, ha, ha. Nice to see you. Kimberly, Frank's here. Nice to see you. All right. We got people rolling in. Let's see. Oh, my. Elva's here. Lori, nice to see you. Got a heart from Lori. Ha, ha. Linda Marie, Miss Bender Sue. All right, Outlandish is here. All right. Lucy, nice to see you. All right, I'm just going down and saying my hellos, and then we're going to get into it. How's the media going to handle it? They have to respond. They have to. They can't just keep. Oh, I mean, that's all been debunked. I don't know why he keeps harping about it. Wayne, how you doing? Or they want to toe the line of, like Hillary. At this point, what does it matter? It's been so long. Pappy Two Bears, thank you for going by buy me a coffee this week. I do appreciate it very much. Thank you. This is a totally viewer-supported channel, by the way. S. Griffin, what's up? Nice to see you. I'll just call you S. So anyway, or Griffin, either way, whatever you prefer, whatever I prefer. Nice to meet you. So anyway, folks, I could have waited till I got a clip of or the whole speech by Trump. Maybe I'll do that if I can get where I can upload all that. We go over point by point next time I go live. What the heck? Because no, he's putting the media on the spot. They have to address it. And anyone in the chats know which see, ABC, NBC, CBS, they are airwaves owned by the country. Okay, they're public airwaves. CNN, all that cable crap, that is cable. It's not public airwaves. It's private cable services. Did CNN? I mean, did CBS? I apologize. Did CBS broadcast this? Does anyone know? Apparently, ABC and NBC did not. Anyway, here's Caroline Leavitt. She's back. And this will give you a little heads up into what their strategy. At this point, what does it matter? Or it's been so long, why keep harping on it? It's settled. Why upset stuff? Or whatever they say. Let's see what they say.
To the degree that this speech tonight is about elections past, not elections upcoming, the 2020 election has had dozens of recounts, lawsuits, audits. The 2024 election, widely believed to be safe and secure. There's not really any question about that. A lot of people look at this.
Because it was too big to rig?
Well, I think a lot of people look at this
There's a
and
massive amount of votes for this president. That's why he's in the Oval Office right now.
No one disputes that. And there were a significant amount of votes for Joe Biden, who won in 2020. I mean, I think the question is, why is the president unable to let this go?
Well, first of all, Gary.
Why isn't the president able to let this go? Because people need to go to jail, okay? And we have to arrest these people that are subverting our government and infiltrating our government agencies and Congress and judgeships. But you see the strategy. Why did you just let it go? The courts have ruled. What did he say? Lawsuits. All lies by omission. They're idiots if they aren't aware that every one of those lawsuits was hook or crook some way kicked out, and there was never evidence ever presented. The American people were silenced. And how many people were involved were like Amy Coney Barrett and afraid. Or how many people in the judiciary were involved were actual true believers of communism, not afraid. We gotta weed them all out. We gotta classify them, okay? Classify them. Because it's gonna go into more than cheating in the election. It's gonna involve more than that. Here's some. I'm not going to play it. I didn't upload it. I'm not going to play it. But Iranian state media released an English language video on how and where to assassinate Trump. It's 2 minutes and 50 seconds long, and I'm not going to play it. I played that video. I might play it again tonight. It's more than election interference. Malicious prosecution, deprivation of rights. We all witnessed it. All the judges that participated, all the prosecutors that participated in getting Donald Trump to prevent him from running again. Do you think somewhere involved is going to be assassination plots? Did Donald Trump's intelligence services get into those Apple devices and other devices by the would-be assassins? I think they did. Let's see. I'm just going through the comments. See if anybody S. Griffin, what are you talking about? It's BS, you say. You use other words besides flat out curse words, okay? I gotta remove that. You can say BS or shite, SHYTE, but don't put words like that in my chest, please. This is a family-oriented broadcast, and we can talk like adults and just make it a little twisted. So anyway, pretend like your little niece is watching what you post. You don't want to corrupt your little niece, do you? Ha. So anyway, or nephew. So anyway, that's okay, bud. It's okay, Griffin. But anyway, I'm seeing, did CBS show the address by Trump? Apparently ABC and NBC did not. I was watching Right Side Broadcasting. They said one of them put up reruns of Family Feud. Hi, Randy. Well, we got 1 million so-called American citizens living in China that were brought here. The mothers were ready to have their water break, came on a tourist visa, had their babies, got their citizenship papers, and went back to China. And those children are being raised in a communist ideology and philosophy. And according to the Supreme Court, they're able to come back and participate in American elections. And people are saying that it's BS that China hacked into our elections. Well, I mean, I don't want to insult anybody in the chat, but remember what Trump said, that I said my old business partner used to say once in a while, when people just weren't paying attention to life. He would just say, "Are you stupid?" Scott, how you doing? Tennessee, where you been? Nice to see you. Stanton's here. Oh, they covered it on radio. CBS covered it on radio. I guess nobody knows. I mean, it's a new world, right? People aren't really zeroing in on the major networks is what they were called, right? Major networks. Before the address, let's see. Oh, this is after the address. This is after the address. Holy SH, and that's it. Okay. Bureaucrats in the intelligence community intentionally withheld intelligence from President Trump about China manufacturing illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Remember, folks, just before the 2020 election, Trump made the Chinese embassy clear out of California, and they had a big bonfire. He gave him 48 hours. A Chinese consulate, he gave him 48 hours to get the hell out. And they had a huge bonfire behind the embassy. What were they burning? Well, we were saying back then, it was counterfeit ballots. We've been talking about this for years. As part of a plot to overthrow the sitting president of the United States, treason, make capital punishment great again. We're gonna have so much information come out. How is the mainstream media handling it? I only got one reaction so far from CNN, of all individuals. Why, they're not obsessing over the reflection pool, putting up bogus photographs of rusty garbage at the bottom of the pool, probably from pictures from 20 years ago when they drained it. But anyway, Trump claims declassified documents show election vulnerabilities. Wait a minute. Is that what you got from Trump? Is that an accurate report that Trump gave a speech that showed election vulnerabilities? Is that what you heard? Let's see what they said above it. President Donald Trump said the release of declassified documents related to the election integrity is not meant to, quote, weaken confidence in U.S. elections, despite years of insisting there have been irregularities in elections. Critics say he's done just that. Oh, it's Trump's fault. There's been confidence weakened in the election. See, Trump, if he wouldn't say this stuff, people would be confident. That was 10% of what he said. What he said was ABC and NBC participated in a plot to hobble his presidency and remove him from office and prevent him from being reelected. He said that China and other countries like Venezuela and North Korea and others got records on over 250,000 Americans to use to interfere in the elections. He said that we shouldn't have to watch another stolen election again. He said that there was a woman who was referring to herself as the deep state and that she was purposefully hiding things, concealing things. He said there were burn bags found. One of them belonged to Barack Hussein Obama. Did you catch that? No, he didn't say there's irregularities. He said there's rank and open cheating. There are people who, he didn't use the word treason, but I'm going to use it, that committed crimes against our country and that the election was stolen, okay? And that people will be prosecuted as appropriate for the crimes they committed. So they're painting it out like, well, Trump's just saying there's irregularities. And he's weakening confidence. He's hurting the nation. And see, those reports all go into AI, That's why they have control of AI. They want control of AI. Hillary knew what was coming. Here's a set of pictures from her interview. Christina Guaya put up this. And the reason I'm putting this up is because you're going to hear something that you hear. If you watch my broadcasts, you hear it every intro. Hillary Clinton is at it again, claiming President Trump is running an, quote, enemies list, worse than Nixon's, and calling his team corrupt, unleashed, and unhinged. Oh, Hillary Clinton, pay much attention to that. They're more interested in going after, his perceived enemies. How many times have you heard John Brennan say that in the introduction video that I play? Who he perceives as enemies. I guess he has like an enemies list that would put, Nixon's list to shame, and you're on it. But it's, the level of corruption, political and financial corruption, that isn't even being hidden anymore. It's out in plain view, and perhaps the midterm elections will at least put the Democrats in a position to try to do something about it. But these people are unleashed and unhinged. What the hell is she talking about? That reminds me about that Judge Middleton, who threw out Trump's defamation lawsuit against Hillary Clinton. We got to zero in on these judges that are playing ball. Trump also mentioned a smear campaign, coordinated smear campaign against the presidency, defaming, involving the mainstream media and the politicians and judges playing along. I'm adding that in there. Trump put out some documents. And if we had a media worth a rat's behind, they would check those documents out. Do you think they would? Or is it going to be just left to the average person try to do a word of mouth? National Intelligence Council, vulnerability in U.S. 2020 election infrastructure. And I know it's too small to read, but he went over basic points. Hi, Darla. How you doing? Cindy, nice to see you. All right, that's right. Malcolm X said the greatest enemy of black folks is a white liberal. White liberal. So anyway, Trump brought up a number of things. He brought up the election fraud that was suppressed in different states. 18 states. And the FBI I wonder who told him, who slow-walked it. He said they were slow-walked in their investigation. He named one state in particular. Colossal cover-up of colossal security breaches. Yeah, Christopher Ray Mayorkas, that's right. But who was directing, who's on the field, in the field, directing these people to suppress the information? I'm just looking in chats to see if anybody got a point of view. This is before the speech. Clandestine put up, the Dems spent the entirety of Trump's first term obstructing his agenda. Doing it in the second term, too. And openly encouraging violence against Trump supporters. Doing that now, based on lies of Russian interference created by the Clinton campaign. The Dems mainstream media threw the biggest fit in history over false allegations of election interference. And they justified all their hatred and vitriol against MAGA based on this false assumption. They used these lies to justify trying to remove the sitting president of the United States and treated his supporters as subhuman for the last 10 years because of it. Now when we find out that it was actually the Dems, mainstream media, who are engaged in election fraud, they want us to let it go. Not only are we going to let it go, not going to let it go, we are going to eradicate left-wing ideology from the face of this planet in the Democrat Party. We'll cease to exist by the time we are finished. We are going to effing destroy you. And that's when he put up that clip of Carolyn Levitt being asked, why doesn't he just let it go? It was 6 years ago. It's already been in court. So the major mainstream outlets don't want to show Trump's address tonight, huh? Excellent. The message will be spread regardless, and they have done nothing but confirm their complicity in treason against we the people. They are merely justifying what we must do to them later. And he put up this photograph. I put up a similar photograph of this many times. And I always remind people that one of the things Herman Göring was convicted of was fraudulently disenfranchising the German people from control of their own government. Stealing power, in other words. Well, see, hi, Sandman. What they have, Scott, nice to see you, is they have this false sense. They have this false sense that they are in the majority because of the amplification of misinformation, slander, misdirection. The greatest truths, the greatest lies are half truths. And the power to ignore, they have lefties thinking that they're on the right side of history and that they are in a majority. One of the points Trump brought up was blatant lies about the election machines. And I couldn't even say the word machine. I couldn't say, Dominion, or the people that were running Dominion. I get in trouble on this platform. But Trump put it out there that the machines are compromised, terribly compromised. That they helped rig the Maduro election, who we just removed as an illegitimate head of state, conducting criminal activity and a predatory incursion into our nation. Multiple nations were able to compromise our election. And the media willfully turned their backs and didn't report on it. He said that his presidential daily briefings were, quote, massaged to exclude information and withhold information from the chief law enforcement officer of the United States, the president of the United States. That's when he talked about this young lady saying she was heading up a shadow government, was the term he used, that he said that she used in her communications. She said she was running a shadow government. They were withholding information from the President of the United States. That's right, Sandman. I talked, dropped my glasses. Talked last night about data centers. Who's against the data centers? And how do you think these governments, I'm not just going to leave it at China. There's more than one government, many of them. How do they collect all that information? AI. Putting things in vehicles to spy on Americans. And the data they have, it's not like on that many Americans, they just found a voter roll. No. It's all codified and aggregated about you, what you like, your likes and dislikes, your political leanings, little mini psychological profiles. How do they get that kind of stuff? AI. How do they get by access to electronic devices? And what it all boils down to, what are those election machines anyway? Electronic devices. If they connect to Wi-Fi, they're vulnerable. Vulnerable to hackers. Period. Anybody should know that. Hi, Wanda. Trump also said that he was ordering all of these states, primarily these 18 states, that had the highest degree of meddling. They have hundreds of thousands of illegal voters on their rolls, either non-citizens or have gone on to their great reward, aren't even alive anymore. And he's ordered them all to be taken off their voter rolls immediately. How long do you think it's going to take a judge to say that they have more authority than the President of the United States and that the states don't have to comply? We already have Judge Sparkle Suknanan saying that we can't use government information to find out if we're giving illegal aliens benefits that belong to Americans. We can't use information to clean up voter rolls about people that are getting SNAP and housing and all this government assistance. And you have judges like Judge Frimpong, who is battling to keep Kilmar Abrego Garcia and his ilk in our country. On and on it goes, along with the judges who are conspiring, colluding, and conniving to prosecute Trump either civilly or criminally in some form or another. Deep and wide. And they have to be removed. This isn't where like you get a letter of reprimand or have to take some class. No. You're participating in an insurrection. Trump was talking about those burn bags. Did we get lucky? He said, maybe we got lucky. He said, but I think it was incompetence that led to those burn bags being discovered. Well, maybe not. We might have had a patriot in a trusted position. Remember, we were told that there were patriots installed in trusted positions throughout the government. And I said, That's what makes a gray hat. You got to fake them out. Let them think you're part of their clique. And then you end up with the burn bags and you find a way to preserve them because you're really a patriot. If you're going to infiltrate these groups, you got to hit them with the fake out. That's like I said a long time ago. If you want to trip up the devil, sometimes you got to dance with him. Yes, Elva. Deep state exposed, arrests expected, Trump said. That we will charge people as appropriate. Not we're thinking about it. He said we will. He spoke of a specific person who had communications admitting to altering, or their terms, massaging presidential daily briefings and excluding vital information, and that she was operating a shadow government, controlling what information the president gets. What do you think the chances that she's either under constant observation, surveillance, whatever you want to call it, restricted movement, whether that's don't leave your state, don't leave your town, don't leave your home, or in actual custody? We're talking national security. Especially if any of these communications involve removing the President of the United States by violent means or harming part of his family. Because he said there were communications intercepted where their goal was to force President Trump to resign or cause him to lose the upcoming election and to prevent him from being elected again. Now, they said that, I see Save America Act in there. Here they said, Save America Act. House passes State Department funding bill with Save America Act attached. Passed by a 217 to 209 vote. That shows you how dangerous things are right now. You got 209 members of Congress. 8 less than what took to pass it. How close we are. That don't want voter ID. That want the mayhem to not only continue but increase. We're being ransacked as a country. We're being looted. Not only our money, but our safety, security, and our form of government is at risk. This is the precipice, but people don't realize it. Did you see the Democrat platform they want to pass? It evokes in me a term I've used in the past. They want a Politburo. They want to remove the presidency. They want to replace it with some kind of a bunch of nitwits that some way indirectly is elected by the people. a bunch of apparatchiks and a Politburo. A bunch of commissars. But John Thune said, I believe we may have a way to pass the parts of the Save America Act. What the hell is he talking about, parts of the Save America Act? Is this it? Let me see. Thune. Graham may have found a path. So John Thune's trying to honor Graham. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Republicans are exploring whether parts, this is Newsmax now, parts of the Save America Act can be passed through budget reconciliation, a strategy he believes Senator Lindsey Graham discussed with the president before his death. Turns out, I'm sure you all heard, he did make it to a phone with chest pains, asked for 911 to be called. What parts? They're going to allow doctors to take perfectly healthy and normally formed teenagers or tweens and remove their genitalia? Why the hell would you want to kick that out of the whole situation? What's this? Mike Johnson, what's this one about? Lone GOP representative votes against attaching SAVE Act to upcoming legislation. Well, how long do you think he's going to stay in office? Randy Fine. Randy Fine, a Republican, didn't want the SAVE Act. Republican in Florida. He was the lone Republican lawmaker to vote against a provision that would attach the SAVE Act. So what John Thune's saying is the Senate is going to remove certain parts of the SAVE Act and send back a husk for the House to approve. And they'll drag it out before they send it back. Hi, Koala. They'll drag it out before they send it back. And, it's so tempting, especially after seeing the picture I put up the other night of that bust of Abraham Lincoln. Hi, Brett. How you doing? To just tell them, look, you're all incapable or unwilling to function as you were intended to function as a body, and I'm declaring the Insurrection Act. But, Trump put up no, this isn't, wait a minute. Maybe it is. Let me see. So small. ABC fake news. Nah, I didn't get to put this up the other day. But since he said ABC and NBC were involved in a plot to cover up and hide the election fraud and the actions taken to hobble his presidency and remove him from office. ABC Fakes News and its shaky anchor, David Muir, said the reflecting pool was drained to address peeling paint. That's the mantra they use. Now they say appealing substance. It's like a bed liner in a truck. You have to take something real sharp to get through that. And they did. But anyway, there is no paint. It was slashed with a knife or a box cutter, high-grade color, waterproofing liner. It was vandalism. And algae blooms, also caused by vandals, but removed long ago. In other words, the story is fake news, but the heavily slanted away from the real cause of the problem, vandalism. It will be fixed soon and better than ever. 60 monuments and fountains have been cleaned and fully renovated in D.C., and crime is at record lows. Washington has never looked better or been safer. Now, tonight, he said, the murder rate was lowest that it's ever been since 1900. 1900. Let's see if this is the one I was looking at. All right. This goes to where the chat was discussing data centers, and we've had well-meaning folks say, oh, I'm worried about data centers because of the electricity they'll use, the water they'll use. Who's against them and who's for them? Kathy Hochul's against them. All the Democrats are against them. Donald Trump's for them. We've been denied our natural resources right down to water. We've been corralled into metered out electricity that they can screw around with your rates, add goofball fees to every account. Save the whales. We're going to add $5 per account. It's only $5. It's $60 a year, thank you. For the save the Oompa Loompas that live in Scratcher-Crackistan, whatever crap they put on your electric bill. And Trump has allowed data centers and other manufacturing entities to build their own power plants. But anyway, one of the biggest driving forces in the future for jobs are data centers. They're big, strong, bold, and money machines for the states which they are built. Governor Kathy Hochul, for political reasons, has terminated all data centers being built or to be built in New York State. These companies are now being sought in Alabama, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and many other states. Both the taxes and the jobs amount to liquid gold. New York State has made a terrible decision. All of this income and other benefits will be going to red states, and some blue, where data centers are sought as cash cows, with lower taxes and record-setting jobs. They must pay for their own water and power. See? They must pay for their own water and power, and any leftover goes back to the state and local community. Data centers are tremendous wins for the state and communities that are lucky enough to get them. New York should change its policy immediately. The radical left Democrats must not be allowed to cause us to lose data centers, AI, and all this incredible new technology to China and other countries. President Donald J. Trump, do you know that if countries like China beat us at AI, if they beat us in processing and retaining data, that they can change how AI works? They can influence AI. So their message, when you ask a question, will be influenced, will be magnified around the world if they have faster technology. What did I always say about AI? Garbage in, garbage out, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Get some books in your house. Make your kids read some books. Sarah Connor watching you use AI for everything. Ha ha! Gary's here. Gary, I've been giving you shout outs, buddy. I'm glad to see you're here. Glad you're okay. And I didn't see Randy's message, but I hope you're improving too, Randy. Not that anybody needs improvement, but anybody in bad health, hope you're working at it hard. Hi, Seymour. Yeah, get her done. So anyway, like I say, see who's against it. See who's against it right here. Democrats push for death certificates to be accepted as voter ID. You want to put that on your meta page? Go ahead and do that. Why don't you? I'm a real American. I might be dead, but I'm an American. I'm trying to find that. Here we go. Was it? No, this is Iran putting out some crap. I had a bunch of stuff to talk about Iran, but I never got around to it because they're going to keep getting thumped. That's about all you can do with them. But the Democrats want to change our entire system of government. They're putting it in their election platform. What is this? Let me see. I wanted to talk about this the other day. Trump administration ends attempt to freeze $10 billion in federal funds for blue states. CNN, so there's got to be something sideways about this report. $10 billion in child care social assistance funding for 5 blue states. The latest setback in its push to withhold or cut federal spending to fight alleged fraud and to punish, again, perceived opponents. You heard Hillary say it. You hear every night John Brennan say it. Now you got CNN say it. Mockingbird, folks. Trump's perceived opponents. The one of many Mockingbird talking points. To show you the dangers of AI. If you fall behind in AI, I didn't get to talk about this. People are going around taking out license plate readers. License plate readers. Have you all heard about that? If you see something, say nothing. There's a license plate reader somebody cut the pedestal on. Well, did you know, after the opening salvo of the Iran war, where we ended up taking out 50 of Iran's top leadership members, including the Grand Ayatollah himself, that China shut down all of its license plate reading systems. Did you all hear that? South Korea shut it down. A bunch of countries shut down their license plate readers nationwide right after that strike. Elva didn't hear it. I'll have to go back and find an old report. Cole didn't hear it. And as far as I know, they're still shut down. Do you know why? Because the data we got into their system. We were able to watch where the limousines and the caravans and where the top leadership were driving around in their own country. We had AI. We had advanced technology. We had Space Force showing us in real time where they were traveling. And we knew where they were because we watched them get out of the car. We tracked their movements using their own license plate readers and traffic cams. And the day we made that strike, China and any other country that thought we might put a knot upside their head, disable theirs. Because they figured if we had access to Iran's, we had access to theirs. Space Force. And you need lightning, never mind lightning, something beyond lightning in speed of data processing to be able to do that kind of tracking. We have the technology to go through traffic patterns of billions of vehicles and store all that data. Like Trump said, with the satellites we have, if they're digging at Pickaxe Mountain or wherever, whatever site they're at, we can read their name tag from space. So yeah, it's true. Maybe I still have it in the studio. I'm not sure. When they disabled all their traffic cam systems in multiple countries that are at odds with the United States because they thought they were next. And who knows? It may have been. What about this? Remember after the initial strike on Iran, I was celebrating because they bombed this guy's house right here. And I asked anybody if they knew who he was. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Been with the Iranian Revolution for 47 years, was one of the students, they called them students, that were holding our embassy workers hostage. And I said, yeah, we got him. Well, it turned out we didn't get him. Not in the sense of bombing, but we got to him. He was in a safe house. That's why he lived. Because he started working with us to get rid of the Grand Ayatollah. Iran's former president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad reportedly worked with the Mossad since 2024. According to the New York Times, Ahmadinejad agreed to work with the Israelis, really the Americans, due to his growing resentment of Ayatollah Khomeini. The plan for regime change in Iran didn't pan out. Ahmadinejad is now reportedly been arrested by the regime in Iran. He's on house arrest. So that picture we saw of him at the cardboard mullah's father was real. He did survive, but he's been outed. Here we go. Here's some in reference to it. I had some a little more detailed than this. DNC 2024. New. DNC panics. Forces officials to sign non-disclosure agreements as rumors swirl about finances. This was today. The Democrat National Committee is trying to keep its money mess under wraps as the 2026 midterms approach, according to a new report. DNC leaders were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements. Wait a minute. Who's asking them? If they're the leaders, who has got more sway, more pull than the leaders of the DNC? And is it really about campaign financing? non-disclosure agreements? Or is it because they know that you know what's going to hit the fan about what Trump talked about tonight? And they're going to say, I have a non-disclosure agreement I can't talk about. Well, it won't protect you from criminal activity, I can tell you that. It won't protect you from subpoenas or grand juries. I had this the other night too. MAGA voice. I am in tears. President Trump just announced our veterans will replace illegals as truck drivers. Quote, any American that has driven a heavy truck for our military is automatically eligible for a commercial driver's license. This is huge news. Common sense. You have veterans that are competing in a job market and losing out in a job market with a lot of these companies hiring these H-1B visa characters that can't even read road signs, and we're leaving our veterans without jobs that they're capable of doing. Plus, we know a lot of those licenses have been revoked. This is the latest move by a judge. There's been so many of them. Trump administration fires U.S. attorney. This is where, I think it was Seattle, Trump had an interim U.S. attorney in that state for 120 days, I believe, 125 days, something like that. And the time period ran out. The Senate hadn't allowed nominations to go through. So there's a provision that if a seat is vacant, judges may appoint prosecutors. Well, they appointed some blue state liberal prosecutor. He got sworn in, and less than an hour later, Trump fired him because he didn't want him. And the Senate is jerking him around as far as approving his picks. So I saw earlier in my newsfeed that these judges have said that Trump is overruled and that their choice of a prosecutor could still continue on, and Trump cannot fire him. Here we go again. Oh, okay, Frank. Yeah, deuce and a half. Well, you would qualify. Yeah, Miss Sue, Washington State. Okay. I thought it was Seattle. Oh, yeah, Seattle, Washington, yeah. My brain's cooked. I was outside. It was hot. What did Trump say at the end of his speech that caught your attention? What did Trump say at the end of his address? It caught my attention. While you're cogitating on that, I'm going to keep putting stuff up. Renzo. I miss when the news was just a guy in a suit telling you what happened instead of a 24-hour panic machine designed to make you hate your neighbor so you don't notice your rent went up 30%. Boy, ain't that the truth. Propaganda. Trump posted this just before, the day before his address tonight. Man pleads guilty to false U.S. citizenship claim on North Carolina voter form for 2024 election. How many more? He faces up to 5 years in prison. How many more elections did he sign up for? And how many more are running around just like him? Plenty. Here's something for you, Meta. If a Republican did what Jussie Smollett did, they'd still be talking about it. One of the most mocked and talked about hoaxes ever. Jussie Smollett. In 2019, I told police 2 white Trump supporters beat me in MAGA country, yelled slurs, and put a noose on me. I paid 2 men to stage it. A jury convicted me of faking the hate crime I invented. I am a Democrat. Yeah, and he wiggled his way out of jail, too. Nobody's above the law except Jussie Smollett. Oh, my screen's frozen. What the heck? I hope you all can hear my screen's frozen. There it goes. Whew. What is this? What are you looking at there? Aberdeen University employee Heather Herbert has now been arrested over online posts celebrating Anne Widdecombe's death. The woman who was a member of parliament in the UK, turns out she was tortured. Did you all hear about that? It wasn't a break-in where somebody, no. I don't want to get into too much detail, but it was something terrible. Is this a Heather or a Henry? And, I don't agree with arresting people over posts unless it's threatening. But that's the UK for you. But at least they're doing it against somebody on the left. But I think firing would be appropriate. But this is worldwide. What Trump is described tonight, especially with the ABC and NBC involved in a plot, which we're going to hear more of that. I think it was one of the most important things he said. This is the Times of India. The Times of India is saying what our own media won't say, and what I get in trouble for saying. Insurrection in the U.S., thousands march in L.A., Boston, Houston, San Francisco after ICE killings. U.S. cities on fire against ICE after fatal shootings. Now, I believe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but we had coordinated protests, okay, that even the Times of India can see. You see the signs ready-made. Insurrection in the U.S., using that term. And here's an example. Well, we've seen them. But I'm hoping there's somebody new tuning into my broadcasts. Here. Look at that crowd. Especially that one in the middle. When's the last time you think that person ever got off the couch to go walking around? You think some of these people are getting gift cards? That's another thing Trump brought up. people were receiving gift cards for voter registration and for faking voter registrations. This is New York Post reporting this. Protesters flood main streets after deadly ICE shooting. I wouldn't get up and run around over it. And I don't think these people would either, unless they were organized in some manner and in some cases compensated. And what they don't report, I showed you this picture. It must be the only one they have of this guy. This is the one in Maine that Susan Collins called Mark Wayne Mullen. Oh, you got to stop pulling people over. And he said, oh, okay. Bags of meth-like substance found in vehicle of an ICE-involved shooting target. A search warrant affidavit filed by FBI details observations of multiple small plastic bags containing a white crystal-like substance inside the Ford Transit cargo van, driven by Lorenzo Zarago Babega Babuga, whatever his name is. And of course the left is saying, oh, that's planted, that's all fake. Oh, but everything they threw around on the floor for pictures at Mar-a-Lago, they staged. That wasn't fake, was it? But you got somebody who's been living in this country for decades illegally. That's fake. $19.84, how you doing? Roland, how you doing? Let's see, what do we got here? I had some, before this announcement by Trump, the media was going on their affordability BS, right? And what are they going to do? Because prices are going down. The consumer price index dropped to its lowest rate since 2020. Consumer Price Index report, U.S. consumer prices record largest monthly drop since 2020. And that includes after states, I showed you that one report, it was Virginia. They add these surcharges on everybody's electric bills for some political crap. I need to find out more about that. In other states, I'm sure blue states, I know Gavin Newsom did it with a gas tax, and they're doing it to utilities too, to make Trump look bad. Well, they do it anyway because they want you to own nothing, be happy, right? So what are they going to do with these prices going down? They put up stories like this. Inflation cooled significantly, meaning it's still hot. It just cooled a little bit as gas prices fell. Inflation cooled significantly last month. It's been cool since we got rid of Biden. Driven by the fragile ceasefire in the Middle East. In other words, if prices go back up again, it's because Trump is making a bad decision with Iraq. This is CNN. No, ABC. ABC, part of the plot with NBC. I wondered why he didn't say CBS. Because CBS has been bought by another entity, right? That's why that 60 Minutes character got left, right? Inflation fell more than expected in June as gas prices eased. Well, I tell you, I went to the grocery store today, and 18 eggs are still $2.19. Thank you very much. The only thing that's really high is beef. Beef. Because 4 of the largest beef processing and packaging companies in the United States are controlled by China. So they're putting the screws to us wherever they can. Does ABC News report that? No. The other thing needs to be investigated, them infusing water into our beef. But anyway, that's another story. But here is a report I was going to play before this announcement of Trump giving a speech tonight. Where is it? Here you go. What's the real story on affordability? What's the real story on prices, inflation, consumer price index that you sure in the hell ain't going to hear from ABC or NBC? And that's what he left out, CBS. But anyway, June CPI data. And people go, oh, this stuff's boring. Well, it won't be boring if we lose the House because a bunch of ignorant people in America think it's more important to have a widescreen TV than your liberty.
Here we go. This is our June release of the Consumer Price Index, expecting a headline number to be negative 0.1%. This is 4 times more negative, minus 0.4%. That would be the biggest negative drop that we've seen since 4/20, since basically COVID timing, which really affected, of course, all of the inflation data points. So that goes back, basically 6-year low. And if we look at the CPI month over month on the core, also under expectations, comes in at goose egg, 0. 0 would be the smallest amount. It would equal Jan of 21. To find a smaller change or a more negative change, or minus 0.1%, that's May of 2020. And if we look at the year-over-year numbers, year-over-year headline, 3.5, 0.3 less than expected, much less than the 4.2 in the rearview mirror. That would be the lightest since March of this year when it was 3.3. Year-over-year core, 2.6. 0.2 less than expectations, 0.3 less than the rearview mirror. 2.6 equals March. 2.5 brings you to February of this year.
So anyway, if this continues, I know gas is going up because of what's going on, but Iran can't keep taking this kind of a pounding. Yeah, Miss Mendelsohn, put them in there. Boom, boom, boom. And where's my bombs? I put a link to buy me a coffee in the chats just now. And a lot of times I forget I even did that and just start talking about it. Because I'm trying to think the next thing I'm going to say and all this kind of stuff. Kaboom! That was a double. How did I do that? How did I get a double boom? Let me try that again. I want to get a double boom. Kapow! But anyway, folks, this is a totally viewer-supported channel. I got a link in the chat to buy me a coffee if anybody wants to support my work. I do appreciate it. And I want to thank Pappy Two Bears for going by this week. I do appreciate it. Pappy Two Bears, boom, boom, boom for you. I was reading, somebody said they get pork instead of beef. Me too. I mean, I'll get chicken and pork, and if I find it on sale, I'll get it. I live in an area where we do have small beef processing facilities, so it's not as bad. Not as bad. And they do put it on sale. So, but the rest of the country, that don't live out in the country have to deal with these onerous prices. Oh, did you all hear about this? This was just before Trump going up with the speech tonight. And I thought in the back of my mind, this might be something. Corey Comperatore's widow says Butler attack was an inside job. Helen Comperatore, the widow of Corey Comperatore, is renewing her call for answers after the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump, saying she believes there's far more to uncover. And I saw that come out on Truth Social. I said, when Trump said I got really big news, I thought, I didn't want to say it to my audience because I'm not a clickbaiter. But I thought, wouldn't it be something if he announced that they had gotten into those phones? And there was another report. I have to go from memory because there's a report out, and once I find it, I'll put it in a future broadcast if I can't find it right now, that they have data from a Secret Service agent who was Googling the rooftop location where the assassin got shot before the attempt. That could be innocent. Maybe he was checking out the buildings in the area and checking it against their game plan. I don't know. But I found that to be interesting. But we are definitely going to hear more about that. Definitely. Here's something for you to put on your meta page. There is no 50-50 allegiance to this country. A man is either an American and nothing else, or he is not an American at all. Teddy Roosevelt. Put that one on your meta page. Let me see what this is. This the one I was looking for? Oh, no. This I thought it was Secret Service. More Democrats support mass deportations, removal of criminal migrants, new poll shows. They're up about to 44%, I believe. Which, is significant movement. Now, this is the woman I was telling you about that got tortured. Terrorism probe launched into Ann Widdecombe killing after police uncover new evidence. New information and evidence has come to light during what has been a dynamic and complex investigation. And as a result, counterterrorism policing Southeast is now leading the investigation. Well, they got the guy, so if they know what they're doing, they can get the information out of him. I won't get into detail. I know a conversation I'd be having with him. Let's see. Things are moving so fast. Sometimes when you get information within 2 days, it's like, oh, well, stuff that would have been big news. In 2 days, it's nothing. Here's some more from my notifications. Why would they want to interrupt my day? And I leave notifications on because I want to see what they're peddling, right? What they're trying to push. So, boop, boop, got a notification. Big news. Oh, let me see what the big news is. AP News. Foreign influence reporters report detainees at the ICE facility in Texas report frequent beatings and other human rights abuses. A new report from human rights advocates say 90% of detainees interviewed at a sprawling ICE facility in Texas say they were either beaten or plucked in the nose or, So, yeah, I'm sure that is coordinated crap. One more for your meta page. I hope some of you all putting this up on your Facebook meta page. You know what it doesn't say in the Constitution? Give up your rights to appease some crybaby liberals. I'm just looking at the chats. Is Trump going to be out before year's end? Why would you think that? Well, maybe. He might get ready for 2028. I don't know. This is one I put up earlier and then didn't show it. What is it? Oh, what's this? Oh, it's all written in Arabic. A circulating document allegedly attributed to the Iraqi Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Iraqi, right? Remember, Trump had the Iraqi president at his house. Remember that Iran has been striking southern Iraq where some Kurds are, and the purge in Iraq, right? That I showed you the video of, where they went in the green zone and arrested members of parliament and a lot of other prominent people and seized all their assets. Remember that, folks? The Iraqi Ministry of Foreign Affairs states that Lebanon's Hezbollah has been classified as a terrorist organization in accordance with orders from the U.S. Treasury Department. So the Iraqi government is playing ball, arresting Iranian sympathizers in their country and assisting with the overall picture in the Middle East. Does the mainstream media report on that? Of course not. Pete Hegseth orders any military personnel with low testosterone to be transferred to the Navy. I know that makes a lot of Navy people upset, but Babylon B picking, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Squad Democrats. Look at there. AOC, there she is. She was really screaming about the networks not carrying Trump's message. I hadn't seen anybody say what they heard Trump say at the end of his message. But here they are. Squad Democrat refuses to answer where tornado relief donations went. Former Representative Cori Bush is facing new scrutiny in her bid to reclaim Missouri's 1st congressional district after questions emerged about money raised for tornado relief through an organization that appears to be funneling the money back to her? Probably. Oh, ABC, part of the plot. Here they got a picture of Trump. White House teleprompter. Now, tell me what sense. This was before Trump's address, okay? While they were putting out everything he says is going to say has been debunked. How the hell did they know what he was going to say? How can you claim something's been debunked when you don't even know the details of what he's saying? But anyway, what sense does this make? White House teleprompter operator made more than $100,000 betting on President Trump's speeches. sources say. So what? He made more than 100,000, or she, betting on Trump's speeches. So what? Betting what? What was the bet? I mean, just anything. They rush to think up something that they can smear a booger on. Anything they can. Oh, Lula, Brazil. Today, President Trump directed USTR to impose a 25% on Brazil tariff on most Brazilian imports. Let there be no confusion about why President Lula and his government have not negotiated with the U.S. in good faith. Of course not. He's a communist. He's a convicted criminal that was released from jail and installed by the worldwide Commie Party. His economic policies are bad for Americans, bad for Brazilians. For the past year, Lula has put on his own ego and head of making a deal for the welfare of the Brazilian people, and these tariffs are the price for that. Trump administration has announced a 25% on certain Brazilian imports under Section 301 of U.S. trade law. Rubio said Brazil is not negotiating. I read all that. The move follows a year-long investigation into Brazil's trade policies and marked the first use of President Trump's new Section 301 tariff strategy against a country. That's the one that the Supreme Court can't do anything about. So we'll see how that turns out. Will a judge step in? Now, Marco Rubio gave a little talk about the rise in violence around the world, really. But I don't think I got that uploaded into the studio. But to me, I watch it. It's just like 40 seconds long. It's just confirmation that this is a worldwide effort to destabilize democracies. And they're using their useful idiots, just like with the reflecting pool. You don't need an organization or paid people or anything. All you got to do is sick your dogs. Sick your dogs on something stupid like the reflecting pool. And they go out and they vandalize and tear things up. And it's all for free. Just sick your dogs on them. Sweet dreams. Well, the table's got to be set. We've been over it 1,000 times on this channel. Sweet dreams. I mean, what do you think this battle's been all about? Do you think there's a world where any president, can walk in and start arresting people when the American people don't understand what's going on? People have been asleep. They've been in a trance. This whole movement is called the Great Awakening. Just because you know what's going on doesn't mean that 300 million other people do. They don't. They don't realize the extent of the fraud, the extent of the insidious nature of this communist infiltration. And you can't tell people about it. You have to show them. So it was said a long time ago, and I put the post up 12 times. And the post is probably 6 years old. For people demanding arrests be immediate and action be taken right now, they should not be part of this conversation. It's easy to sit home and say, start arresting people, and then we would have a blow up of our civil society for people who think Trump is exactly what the media is trying to portray him as, a dictator, a criminal. If he just goes out and starts arresting executives for the news agencies, which will happen. But you have to show the people why they're being arrested, just like the posts I put up with clandestine. Oh, they're not showing Trump tonight. Good. It's letting us show everybody how corrupt they are, so when it's time for them to be punished, the American people know why. Here we go, CNN. A district attorney, who is that? Tells CNN he doesn't believe drugs were found in the van in last week's fatal Houston ICE shooting, countering FBI suspicions. It's not suspicions. It's an FBI report that a warrant uncovered drugs in the car. So what CNN and this district attorney, who is, in my opinion, part of the plot, is accusing the FBI of criminal activity and, by extension, Donald Trump. And this poor, innocent, illegal alien lost his life over nothing. That's the narrative they're pushing. This is part of the plot. This is part of the crime. Illegal psychological warfare campaigns. And here we got a little clip I could have played you the other night, but we ran out of time. Brandon Gill scores a quick TKO over Ayanna Pressley. How would you like to have somebody like this making decisions over your life? Well, she is. She is. Over what your children learn, how much tax you pay, how many property rights you can have, who to let in this country. So anyway, I'll play this little clip for you. It's 20-some seconds. Let's see him score a quick victory. And I will say, thank you for spending your precious time with me. And we will see what other people report, what other information the White House lets out. And one of the last things I heard Trump say, that I was checking to see in the chats if anybody thought anything of it, he said, God bless our military. God bless our military. And I think he said that because they're the only way. When you look what these judges do, when you look what all these operatives are doing to do whatever it takes to steal an election, makes it hard to vote your way out, right? So I agree. God bless our military. Anyway, folks, again, thank you for spending your precious time with me. I'm gonna put one more time in the chats link to buy me a coffee, and I appreciate everybody that's helped out with buy me a coffee. And I hope you enjoy this small clip. And I should be up tomorrow night. So if you're subscribed, you'll know when I go live. So why don't you go ahead and do that if you haven't done it? Ha ha ha. So y'all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
And that is why I've introduced legislation to add the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment, enshrining it as the law of this land.
I'd be happy to look at your Equal Rights Amendment and read through it. I guess my biggest question was, does it define what a woman is?
I look forward to your signing on.
We'll take a look at it. I just was hoping for some analytical clarity, but thank you. We'll take a look at it.